Good morning and welcome to COVID-19 Solutions Consortium series. We are so excited to have each and every one of you that have joined us on this morning for this webinar. We're thankful to have guest Dr. E. Lance McCarthy to join us to talk today about strategies as well in regards to the stimulus dollars, loans, and as well resource options. I'm thankful to my staff who has helped us to be prepared for today and as well positioned us to be live on this webinar and over Facebook Live as well. We created this webinar to be able to help our business community, small businesses and MWBEs to be able to address some of the challenges that they have experienced over the past 8 weeks due to the COVID-19 pandemic crisis. Certainly there are many business owners, entrepreneurs that are experiencing challenges during this time, and we thought it was important for the Office of Diversity and Inclusion to get involved and to somehow find a way to give information to our small business community as well as MWBEs. And so we look forward to today's webinar. Our hope is that it's impactful and powerful to each of you that have joined us on this morning. Let me welcome Dr. E. Lance McCarthy. Dr. McCarthy, welcome to the show.
Glad to be here, Brother Apostle Patton. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Let me share just a little bit of information about you to our listening audience. Dr. McCarthy is a TED Talk lecturer. He is a Harvard lecturer. He's a part of the White House Task Force and member of the Economic Conversation. He also was a part of the White House Task Force African American Business Committee. He's a part of the task force at the White House for Minority Outreach COVID-19. He is the past president of the Orlando Urban League, which is where he and I met, being a past president of the South Bend Urban League as well. He is a part of the Congressional Committee on Financing Technology. He's the founder of Ferguson 1000 and Global 1000. He is the economic advisor to Swag Media. He's a diversity consultant, a board advisor for M4MM. He's also an author of Wall Street to the Hood. Dr. McCarthy, we are so glad that you had time to join us on this morning. I'm looking forward to the information that you're going to be sharing with us.
Glad to be here, Brother Patton. It is an honor to serve and share. My objective is to share with your audience that despite all the negativity that is happening with COVID-19 domestically and globally, I believe there's opportunity for us to work together, particularly for minority businesses, not only during COVID, but after COVID. And we collectively put together an agenda for minority businesses can help refuel the economy, help people get jobs, and really help us start making good things happen in a bad situation.
Yeah, as the economy has come to a screeching halt, obviously small businesses and MWBEs most especially are experiencing what I would call the cash crunch synopsis and other challenges as well. I believe that you have some information that will certainly help them and benefit them if they move on the suggestions that you will share and or the information that you're going to share with us today also.
Yes, sir. As we go through the presentation today, I really want to encourage all minority businesses and let them know that we have a three-pronged strategy, and that is 3 C's: capital, which of course is the money. We'll cover that today. Contracts, how do you sustain and grow your business? And then contacts, what are some opportunities and successes that we can duplicate? Because as being an entrepreneur, we have to pivot. And pivoted means maybe not your same core business, but looking at what other opportunities that you can be a part of that can help you grow and sustain your business.
Sure. All right.
All right, we can go right into the presentation if you're ready, my friend.
We are.
All right, so let's look first of all, what does minority business do to the nation? Over $400 billion in annual revenue is generated from activities of certain minority business enterprises. Finally, more than $48 billion in combined local, state, and federal tax revenues proves that minority-owned businesses are major contributors to both their local economies as well as their overall U.S. economy, creating over 2.2 million jobs. So the minority business community is very important to the fabric of the United States, and it's our objective to help them not only sustain through COVID-19, but look at opportunities that we believe are impactful for COVID-19 and the future. Next. So let's look at what happened to the economy based on COVID-19. COVID-19 has brought the world's economy to a grinding halt. The economic impact and recovery will last for months and potentially even years. As Congress and other government authorities move to save different areas of the economy, it's important to understand what resources that we have available, particularly as a minority business owner. Everyone's first priority during this pandemic should be to stay safe and healthy, but maintaining your business's health can be equally important. Let's take advantage of the following resources that are shared today so you can stay informed and have a lesson on the impact of this crisis. Next. We have to look at the psychological perspective of any crisis. In history, Apostle Patton says that through chaos, there's opportunities. And here's just some quotes that I want to share with people to let them know that there is opportunity and there is benefits in this crazy time. The first is a problem is a chance for you to do your best by the infamous Duke Ellington. Let's look at this opportunity and how do we grow our business. Next, the greatest glory in living lies not in never failing, but in rising every time we fail, by Nelson Mandela. So let's look at what can come out of this negative situation as a positive. And lastly, prosperity is not without any fears and disasters, and adversity is not without comforts and hope, Francis Bacon. So if we have the philosophy and the blueprint, I believe we can make an agenda forward. We'll talk about today 3 different sectors. Capital, which is always the most important factor for a business. Where's the money? Where are the resources? Locally, statewide, and nationally. Second, we'll cover contracts. How do we look at sustaining our business by looking at what we can do to grow? If that's diversity in products, if that's diversity in core services, instead of looking at emerging new industries that we can be a part of, and looking at that side. And then last thing is contacts. Who do you know that can assist you in growing your business? Sometimes we focus on entrepreneurship, but we also need to focus on entrepreneurship. What are those procurement officers? Who is purchasing? How do we leverage these opportunities that we can get contracts to sustain ourselves and grow? And so I've broken the presentation up today in those 3 areas. Next. So let's look at what the federal government did in order to assist our small businesses. The U.S. government has developed the $2 trillion Coronavirus Aid Relief and Economic Security Act, CARES. And this is to provide the healthcare resources needed to fight COVID-19. Our nation's small businesses are facing unprecedented economic disruption due to COVID-19 outbreak. On Friday, March 27, 2020, the President signed into law the CARES Act, which contains $376 billion in relief for American workers and small businesses. Next. So where is this money and how do we attest it? Well, of course, the SBA has stepped out in front to be able to help us find and create funding. This section was updated with new information on 3/31/20. The SBA is offering key programs to help small businesses survive the coronavirus outbreak, and they're in 3 areas. The first is the SBA Disaster Assistance Loan, and they're up to $10 million to $20 million, depending on how many individuals that you have working for you. We also have the SBA-backed Paycheck Protection Program, which will be done as well for operations and for any loss of revenue that you may have gotten. And then lastly, the emergence $10,000 grants that are forgivable. These are forgivable based on your assessment and being accepted to the program. We know the first round, unfortunately, went to a lot of big corporations. We know there was new funding that was allocated for the second round. We also know that a lot of the big corporations gave the money back in order to move forward to small businesses. So we're very excited about that. Let's continue to move into capital. Next. Let's look at what the banks are doing. We know that there are particular federal funds that have been secured and they're moving through the banks, but let's look at some of the opportunities that banks, particularly for small businesses. Capital One, Citi, and Wells Fargo have all issued statements indicating that they're willing to work with customers that experience financial difficulties. Citi is also waiving the fees on early CD withdrawals. Wells Fargo donated $6.25 million in aid to help the public relief effort. The bank also encouraged customers that are experiencing financial hardship to contact customer service for assistance. And Bank of America has also said they're offering payment deferrals on credit cards and preparing individuals for the next wave. Next. Let's look at capital on the Indiana state level. The Indiana Chamber of Commerce is offering rapid response loans. The Indy Chamber created the Rapid Response Loan Fund through its business ownership initiative and has affordable options for loans ranging from $1,000 to $25,000. Loans can be used to pay employee salaries, insurance premiums, or as bridge loans until additional funding kicks in from the business bank or from the Small Business Administration. You can contact directly the Indy Chamber to find information about that. The Indiana Small Business Development Center at the Indiana SBDC, which has 10 regional offices throughout your all state, offers no-cost business advising for entrepreneurs and small businesses. Advisors are available to provide free advising and disaster relief application, particularly in reference to COVID-19. And again, you can contact them directly on this site. Next. At the capital of Indiana, Hometown Business Preservation Initiative, the Office of Community and Rural Affairs announced a new partnership with the Purdue Center for Regional Development, Ohio State University, and United States of Agriculture Rural Development, and IEDC, to launch a Hometown Business Preservation Initiative. This instructional program will guide community leadership on how to establish a revolving loan fund, which can provide necessary loans to small businesses based on community needs. As local, state, and federal funds become available, they may be placed in the community revolving loan account to then lend to identified businesses. Again, if you contact them directly to find information on this. Next. One of the things I try to teach minority businesses is that you are a global citizen. Not only do you can sell product locally, but you can also sell it globally. So there has now been information on international banking in reference to COVID. Import-Export Bank of the United States, EXIM, has announced relief measures for U.S. exporters and financial institutions that include waivers, deadline extension, streamlined processing, and flexibility for its customers for an initial period of 30 days, with the possibility of more for the following programs: working capital guarantee program, multi-buyer and single buyer short-term insurance program, and medium-term single buyer insurance policies insured fixed quarter. One of the things that I share, Patton, is that there are 300 World Trade Centers around the world. And in doing that, they're free for taxpayers to go to your World Trade Center, work with an advisor, and they can help you for free sell your products globally. We have, especially now, we have to look at how do we become global as minority small businesses.
Sure.
Next. When we look at a portfolio, it's not just about how much revenue, but it's also how you deal with your taxes. And we have capital tax relief for small businesses as well through the COVID-19. Businesses are eligible for an employee retention tax credit if your business operations were fully or partially suspended due to COVID-19 shutdown order, or gross receipts declined by more than 50% compared to the same quarter in the prior year. Eligible businesses can get refundable 50% tax credit on wages up to $10,000 per employee. The credit can be obtained on wages paid or incurred 2020 through December 31st, 2020. Business and self-employed individuals can delay their payroll tax payments. These payments, the employer's share of Social Security tax over to 2020, can instead be deferred and paid over the next 2 years. This is really a great program, Apostle Patton, in that we can defer taxes, which correlates to your bottom line and assist it moving forward. So I'm very excited, not only from the capital side and the revenue side and the loan side, but also how we can reduce taxes and defer them over the 2 years, which of course helps a small business.
Yeah.
Next. So, okay, we looked at the private capital. Let's look at the grants, the free money that we can use for small businesses as we look at this agenda. Facebook has launched a grant program for small businesses. You can read about it on Facebook Direct. They also have a list of resources on their network. Amazon has created a neighborhood small business relief fund for businesses affected by COVID-19 in the Seattle area. The company pledged $5 million for the fund. Even though this is particularly for Seattle, they also launched this on a national basis. And again, you can go to Amazon to find out about this as well. We know they have lots of them. Intuit QuickBooks is providing a long list of small business plans and resources and having businesses prepared for COVID-19. Next. In addition to independent businesses, the National Federation of Independent Businesses, a small business special interest group, is offering legal resources and webinars related to the virus. Again, you can go on their site and find information. This next one is very close to the heart because we know in the restaurant industry, many of the people that were laid off, the 26 million jobs that were lost, were restaurateurs and restaurant workers. If you run a restaurant or restaurant group, the Restaurant Workers Community Foundation has information related to grants, financial programs, other resources for restaurants affected by COVID-19. This includes immigrant-specific concerns, USBG relief funds, and a COVID-19 relief fund is sponsored by the organization. Again, we have so many workers in restaurants that have been laid off, and they live from paycheck to paycheck, so we're very excited about this partnership with the Restaurant Workers Community Foundation.
Sure.
And US Today has listed many resources for small businesses as they move forward to get information. Next. What are some of the local grants that are happening in the state of Indiana? The Lilly Endowment makes an additional $33.5 million in grants to help Indiana communities respond. You can go directly to their site and find out what and how that money is going to be available. The city of Noblesville announced a small business resilience grants. Of course, you all have great teams in the state of Indiana. The Colts and Pacers team up to support community centers in COVID-19 emergency crisis. The Indiana Chamber provides COVID-19 resource to benefit businesses. And as I mentioned earlier, JP Morgan Chase commits $50 million to underrepresented communities across the country, particularly in the state of Indiana. I would advise a partnership with them. They are really acting aggressively to come and get small businesses and minority businesses access to capital. I think that'd be a great partnership as well.
Sure.
So we talked about the capital, where the money is both from the private side, from the federal side, and from the grant side. Let's talk about now, how do we grow and sustain our businesses? What are some of the contract opportunities that have come out of COVID-19? The federal side, there's new contracting opportunities at FEMA. To combat the COVID-19 outbreak, the Trump administration provided emergency support to the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, in order to assist eligible states with their disaster responses. If interested in supplying products or goods to aid in FEMA's efforts, the Indiana PTAC offers free counseling and contracting assistance to Indiana small businesses. Again, you can go to their site to get information. But millions and millions of dollars have been deployed to FEMA. They're looking for everything from supplies to services to community support that I believe that minority businesses in the state of Indiana and in South Bend can go after. So I would definitely support assisting you all in doing that level, because we have some of our minority businesses that already have contracts with FEMA in the area of supplying products. Next. What are some of the local contracts? What are some of the new initiatives that are happening in the state of Indiana that minority businesses can attach themselves to? First of all, the MSP Aviation is manufacturing face shields for healthcare workers. So the demand is high. There's new products being developed. You need to contact the procurement officer at MSP Aviation and see what opportunities are available for minority businesses in the Indiana state arena. The Indy Car Factory, workers are cutting fabric for hospital gowns. Again, everyone is now shifting and pivoting into areas that the demand is going to be high for products. Again, I would implore that the minority business community, through your office, assist in finding those procurement officers at the factory to see what services they need to purchase. The Indy Chamber is assisting small businesses with an online information hub. This hub has products, services, needs, demand, all the things of that nature, real time, to find out what can be happening there. And then the Indiana Manufacturers Association has created a COVID-19 networking platform that you can see what are some of the new ideas. I tell people in the global paradox, as the world economy becomes larger, the more powerful the players are. There are a lot of great ideas that minority businesses have. If you can connect with a manufacturer or connect with this kind of platform, you may have an idea that can help your company get contracts. So this whole listing, and there's many, many more that we can share with your group. I want to just show people the opportunity that is sitting right in your backyard based on what has happened with COVID-19 and how do we go after contracts.
Yeah, very good.
Yes, sir. Now, we've looked at capital, the funding from the federal government, the funding from the banks. We looked at grants. Then we just shared some of the opportunities in contracts. Now, as a small business, one has to pivot. And so here are some successful business growth trends that I believe your audience can tap into to either partner with, create, or do strategic alliances. And there's 15 here I want to go through for your audience. The first is cleaning services. There's going to be extensive demand for cleaning services, sanitizing on a continuous basis. Every government agency, every school, every airport, everything is going to need cleaning services and sanitation. So I think that's one that your network of minority businesses can be able to partner in and develop. The next is delivery services. We've been in our homes and not traveling as much. Independent delivery services, you get trucks, you get cars, you get Uber drivers, whatever it is, people need things delivered. I believe there's opportunity in delivery service agreement. This third one may not for everyone, but I've been studying the trends, and because people love to go to movies, the drive-in movie theaters have come back as one of the 15 top emerging trends. People still want to go out to movies, but stay in their cars and be safe. So that's one of the trends that we see. In Indiana, we got a couple here. It always brings back, well.
Right.
This is grocery stores, large and small, because of course people are cooking more now than ever. I've eaten more home cooked meals in the last 2 months than I have my entire life. So this has been great. And so not only large grocery stores, but small grocery stores can attest to. This next one, liquor and wine stores, that we don't want to advocate people getting drunk, but again, these are trends. People are relaxing at home and being able to buy that product. The next, of course, is meal prep delivery services. Everybody doesn't want to cook. And so we know we have so many great cooks in the minority business community sector. You can set up contracts with nursing homes, assisted living facilities, all kinds of things from that perspective. And then canned products. Again, the same mechanism. You know, our grannies used to put preservatives, etc. People are going back to old school, looking at what they could do, what they could sell for high demand. Yes. Again, we're looking at the trends. People staying at home more, so therefore game makers and sellers have increased. And not just the video games for the kids, but just basic games, cards, things that they can use to play for us, or high demand because people are at home more. Fitness equipment companies. Again, people are exercising more at home. And what I want to tell the minority business community, you can be a rep for everything that I listed on here. Leveraging your established customer network and connecting with these growing trends can be a way to make it through COVID-19 and to create money. So we're not saying if you are a company that makes cakes, you still can connect with a fitness equipment company because all your customers may want that product. So what I'm trying to do in these last 2 slides is saying how to pivot on opportunities that are happening in the market we may not have thought about in the past. The next one is landscaping and yard care companies. Of course, people want their lawns and cut up in the spring. People stay at home, they want to look at core. That's an opportunity there. Bread baking companies came on the radar. Again, back to old school, people staying at home. Coffee subscription companies. We all like coffee. We're not going to Starbucks as much. People can have this delivered to their home by doing subscription and or marketing. Gardening suppliers. People are doing more urban gardening, doing their own garden in their backyards, being able to look and see how they grow their own product. These last 2 are very big. Mask makers and medical supplies. We're going to be wearing masks for a long time. We're going to be doing some sanitizers for a long time. We have minority distributors of these products. We connect with your network and help people sell these to their network of people. And then lastly, the telemedicine and the telehealth. People aren't going to the doctor as much because of the COVID-19. Doctors are now doing this telemedicine over years, and so there's opportunity there. So what I wanted to do here was share some of the pivoting, some of the things that you can add to your existing business culture in order to move the agenda forward.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So, in closing, look at the economic outlook. And what I tried to do was share 3 specific strategies for your audience. One, there is capital available from the federal government, from the private sector and banks, and from grants, both locally and statewide, and I shared that with your audience. The second sector, of course, are contracts. How do you pivot? How do you look at emerging opportunities to be able to sell product and keep your business viable, even though that may not be your core service? And then contacts, as I mentioned, emerging trends that we can move forward on. So therefore, in conclusion, the economic outlook. These are critical times for the United States and the world. Tens of millions of Americans have filled jobless claims, more than ever, more than since the Great Depression. Millions of small businesses are temporarily closed, and many small business owners onshore will be able to reopen. Meanwhile, families are struggling to make ends meet while a global pandemic threatens their health. The minority business community has an opportunity to rally with strategy, goals, and new connections that will outlast COVID-19. And I applaud your office and the diversity and minority business outreach is leading that charge in Indiana. And lastly, as the world economy becomes larger, the more powerful the smallest player, John Nesbitt. We can then move forward with this agenda, look at the time to come together. I've never seen people come together so much in this initiative, and also come out great by creating a platform for minority business development and minority business outreach. And the last slide has my contact information in it. So we'll be able to supply this to your network or share it on Facebook. But I am humbled to share this information with you. I applaud you for you and your staff who are doing an outstanding job in diversity and minority business outreach. And I am here to help in any way that I can. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lance, for sharing the tidbits and information that you've shared. Certainly some powerful information, and as well gave us an outlook, I think, that will be helpful for sure to our business community and the NWBEs that have joined us and or will watch this webinar at some other point. You've been insightful. You have certainly been, in a sense, have given us some wisdom to walk by and some resources, some options out there that small businesses should look at and engage themselves in. Certainly, you're on the forefront of working with small businesses and MWBEs. What are some of the things that you're hearing or as well being presented with as challenges to those small businesses that you're in communication with?
Great question, Mike. Yes, the number one issue now is capital, access to funding. We know that the first round of funds to the SBA went to some of the larger corporations. The second round is going to some of the smaller ones, and we're very excited about that. So it's how do we access the capital? And that's what I tried to share with your audience. Money is available, but you have to be able to deal directly with your banker. And I always tell people, you don't know your banker, you don't have a bank. A personal relationship with a banker is very important. But also, what has emerged is investors for COVID-19 products. So I am dealing with some investment groups that are looking for minority businesses that may have ideas or may have strategies. So this wasn't there before. So it's new ways of equity capital that are available. And then lastly, there are organizations naturally that combine urban development and capital, such things as the Social Venture Network, Community Venture Capital. So it's really looking at what are those ways of getting capital. And so, again, I'm looking forward to working with you and your staff to help those companies in the local Indiana arena access capital. Yeah,
I saw a write-up. You were in, I believe, New Jersey or somewhere on the East Coast where you were bringing capital to the area to help businesses and to as well spur and encourage economic development. Can you talk with us a little bit about that as well?
Yes. I was very fortunate to be the keynote speaker for the New Jersey Black Chamber annual gala a couple of months ago. And on the national level, I have contracts with equity funds. And so we're trying to find those businesses that we can assist. Too many times,
real quick, Dr. Lance, yeah, losing your audio. Could you just repeat one more time, please?
We lost your audio.
Okay.
There you go.
Now,
Yes.
so I was saying that 2 months ago, I was very fortunate to be the keynote speaker for the African American Chamber in New Jersey. And I highlighted bringing them access to equity capital and being able to spur funding in their local market. Too many times, minority businesses just focus on debt financing. You need debt and equity in order to grow. You know, the last 20 years, the Milken Foundation, the Kauffman Foundation, all have talked about there's only 1% of equity capital for African American and minority businesses, but that is changing. I'm seeing more access to capital than ever before. One of the areas we're really looking at, which I alluded to in my presentation, is restaurants. We know we have so many minority restaurants in Indiana and around the country that need capital. And so we're looking for those minority restaurants that we can actually scale and help go. So that's a new wave of equity that came out of COVID. It wasn't here before, but because they know that restaurants are hurting, but there's some opportunity for them to come back. Therefore, we can assist them in that area. So again, we'd love to target some of those companies in your local market.
Yeah. Wow. You've done a lot of different things when it comes to business. And one of the things that we have talked about, and I have watched you grow as well, is tech in the African American community. You created the Black Silicon Valley synopsis. Can you share with us some information about that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Another good question. As we look historically over the last 10 years, your major billionaires and multimillionaires came out of the tech world because you're changing the whole model and everything is tech. So I said historically in my TED Talk, how every time we look at technology being developed, because African Americans and minorities were on the labor side, we were displaced. So it's my objective to step ahead of the curve and own technology. Actually go around the country doing a program called Pitch to Player, which is similar to Shark Tank. And we have these emerging technology bright minds pitched to us. And we have so many great successes, particularly in the youth area. Mm-hmm. We have a young man by the name of Jalen Bledsoe. Jalen came to us 5 years ago. He said, I'm 17 years old. I am the same age my parents were when they had me. However, I have 120 subcontracted employees. I did $3 million last year in revenue. And if you look at my Facebook page, I'm a paid nerd. So we try to find these youngsters in the markets all across the country. I know there's some bright young minds right there in South Bend that we can partner with and help, and also emerging companies. And on the tech side, if you look at the federal government, under the 8A program, there's opportunities to partner with federal contracts because the 8A was established to make sure that African Americans and minorities are able to attach themselves to contracts. Matter of fact, the largest Black-owned company in the country is Worldwide Technology right here in St. Louis, $9 billion in revenue. It started as an 8A company. So minority and Black tech is very important, not only to create new ideas and new ways, but to create Black wealth in our communities.
Wow. That's huge. As well, you have built relationships with athletes that have wanted to give back and or create capital for small businesses, MWBEs, to be able to launch their businesses and or operate even in times like this. Can you talk a bit about what that's been and how that materialized?
Yes, sir. Another good question. My God, we're going to have you have an Oprah Winfrey show. So, yes, I used to be the vice president of the Black Sports Agent Association, so I've dealt with a lot of athletes and how to assist them in their career. But more importantly, almost 6 years ago, when the Ferguson unrest happened, we created Ferguson 1000 to create 1,000 jobs in St. Louis and Ferguson as a means to solutions for protests. And so in doing that, I'm an economist, and I know that I need influencers. So I called my great friend Ray Lewis, now Hall of Famer, and said, will you partner with me because you have a wide range of influence, and I have the platform for Ferguson 1000. We then connected and partnered along with Jeff Hoffman, co-founder of Priceline, and began to take this around the country. We started in Ferguson. We then went to Baltimore, where Ray used to play for the Ravens. We found 2,000 jobs, never been done before. We also had free haircuts, free suits, expungement services in Prayer Chapel. From Baltimore, we went to Los Angeles to Chicago to Miami. We've done in Las Vegas. So because of Ray's influence and his connection with other athletes, we're able to create jobs and bring them to the market. Matter of fact, we even brought great linebacker Jim Brown in Los Angeles out to help, again, having such a great influence. So we know that entertainers and athletes have strong influence. And so I'm very fortunate to work with these gents all across the country in bringing jobs and technology to the platform. We were recently together at the Super Bowl in Miami, where, of course, they had an evening party, but during the day, we had a pitch session again. All these events from the NBA All-Star Weekend to the Super Bowl. We were going to do the Kentucky Derby, but of course, that's canceled. We have pitch sessions at these events, and we integrate entertainers, athletes, and venture capital. And right now, I'm actually negotiating a deal in Hollywood to create this as a show called Pitch the Player, which will have venture capitalists and entertainers and sports figures on our panel to move this agenda forward. So yes, I love working with athletes and entertainers, and they're becoming more conscious. You've seen a lot of them creating equity funds. Unfortunately, our great ball player from Los Angeles Lakers, Kobe Bryant, died. But Kobe had created a $2 billion equity investment fund. Carmelo Anthony, an investment fund. Shaquille O'Neal, investment fund. So these guys are starting to learn that it's about playing, but also using your influence to help the community, not just give back, but invest back. And if we're able to do that agenda, I believe we can have a significant impact on minority businesses across the country.
Wow, that's huge all by itself. And other cities, you work with other cities. What kind of things that have you been able to do when it comes to economic development and or as well growing businesses in those communities?
Good question, good question. Again, as I mentioned earlier on the call, one of the best things that I have seen for legislation is the opportunity zone. And the opportunity zone, of course, incentivizes investors to be able to have 10 years capital gains tax deferred in order to do development. And so the Rockefeller Foundation is saying that is going to be more capital ever transferred to urban America in the history, which is $6 trillion. So we are looking at different businesses and communities to assist them access capital and helping them create these industrial parks for opportunity zones. One of the things we've done in every part, in to the part that I mentioned about entertainers and athletes, we partner with what we call prison tech. We find those ex-felons in markets that we can assist in creating economic development opportunities. Not just recidivism programs, not just getting them to work, but some of these guys are brilliant. And so companies. One of the things we did in Baltimore was find this guy named Trevor Brooks. Trevor had went to prison for murder. He was released on early recognizance, and he wanted to get guns off the street because he had been involved in murder. It was an accident, but he still had to go to prison. So he created a technology platform in Baltimore called Gun Bail. And Gun Bail gets unregistered guns off the streets because we know unregistered guns stay on the street more than registered guns. He used that platform. We were able to go to the state legislator, only having him being out of prison for a year, only for him knowing nothing about technology. And we've been able to help him get national grants to go into communities to be able to get the guns off the street. But more importantly, just recently, he got a contract with the city of St. Louis, coming from Baltimore here, with a COVID-19 application, which can tell you or share if you have or you think you have symptoms. It then registers you to go get testing. So we have found in these communities ex-felons who we help create. Out in Las Vegas, with the company called Pigeonly, Frederick, when he was in prison, he saw all the prisoners being gouged in phone bills. He created technology that reduces the phone bill by 40%. He has 2 million customers, was on the front page of the Economist magazine, raised $15 million. When I first met him, I said, Frederick, how did you get a contract with the prison system and you're an ex-felon? He says, I don't have a contract with the prison system. I sell the software to their locals. I said, man, that is genius. So what we've done in all these markets, we found those uprising prison tech guys and been able to help them create a platform to be able to use it. So that's some of the things we've done in the markets. In addition, we've created the hiring events in these markets where people just don't go to a job fair. They actually get hired on the spot. We make sure the companies give us the information, they get trained when they get there, and we have 60% of the get hired on the spot and or secondary. It's very important all across the country to make this program work in assist markets. And what we also found out is that we have to work together, otherwise we're different because there's always competition from local dollars. We have the national platform, work together. Very excited.
Wow. Wonderful information and a testament, obviously, to the work that you've been able to do. You've worked with the faith-based community. A few years ago, you were sharing with me about meeting with Bishop Jakes and many other pastors to talk about a 100-year plan. You have worked with the faith-based community for a number of years in creating opportunities for them. Can you talk a bit about that?
Yes, sir. Another good question. I am one of the few faith-based economists in the country. I've been very blessed. I grew up in the church as a musician. I grew up in the church under Reverend Cleopas Robinson, who was a business pastor, and I saw the business side of the church. So I have always believed that the church is the platform to rebuilding our community. If you look historically, every movement was led or integrated by the Black church. We have over 65,000 Black churches in this country, 25 million members, depositing over 60 million every Monday morning in someone else's banks. We have to be able to use that platform to do economic development activities. I also was an advisor to the Catholic Church on 2 fronts. One, performing stockholder resolutions, where we were able to go into major defense contracting companies and create resolutions. And if you go to any Catholic church in this country, particularly in the urban area, there can be 4 or 5 people in the audience that are asking money because they have tax and they have investments. So I truly believe that if the church, particularly the Black or minority churches, creates 2 things. One, a 100-year plan. We can always adjust that. But if you're preparing for 3 generations, you'll always be focused on where the agenda is going. Second, do an assessment of the members. We have talents on the pews. God gives everything we need on the pews. We need to ask them what their talents are and how can we leverage that to business opportunity. What better way to find Jesus on Sunday morning to go to a business that we own on Monday? And if we're able to put that agenda forward, we can make it happen. So I represent 2 major investment houses who only do church financing. So we're always looking to help churches create the capital they need for their visions. A second one that just came on is the HUD apartment complexes. Just partner with HUD to build apartment complexes where it's 100% loan. So therefore, under 100% loan, you're just making debt servicing of the loan. You're not making the profit. So we found a lot of these churches, because they're not making profit, they're either losing the buildings or they can't rehab the building. I'm very excited to say we partner with a company that we can come in and restructure those loans for apartments and be able to put money into the churches so they can do it. So I really strongly honestly believe for a partner that we have to continue to create a platform for minority churches to be able to create business opportunities. Only if that stays open 1 day a week, but also stays in business. So we're going to change the model of COVID-19. Their innovation all across the country. They had their own sort of technology. We also see this competition with hackathons today, looking at ways
Your voice is fading, Lance.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now we can.
Okay, when I grew up, we had competitions on choirs. Now churches are having competitions on tech, having the youth integrated and come with ways of solving solutions for the church. And we have to reach those young minds. We have all these young minds in the church, and youth aren't going to church as they used to. If we attract them through technology, I believe that's the way. So I truly believe that the minority church is very pivotal in creating opportunity and being an intermediary, sharing information to the members, sharing history, sharing present, and sharing future opportunities. And I'm kind of a radical. I believe that we can do prayer service on Tuesday and we can do choir rehearsal on Wednesday. We can do business service on Thursday and be testifying about business opportunities and sharing that in the church.
Yeah, love it. Certainly. You shared so much with us as we are navigating COVID-19. I would ask, what is most important to our small businesses and MWBEs in this current environment, based upon your opinion?
I believe this is enormous opportunity times, and we have to, what you're doing today, stay connected and share information. I would advocate for those minority businesses in your network, particularly in the South Bend and the surrounding areas, just to send you a one-page executive summary, what their business is, what they're going through, and what they're trying to do. And if we aggregate, we can begin to look at ways to help each other and look at that. So I believe that it's been stopped time for minorities businesses to catch up. Everybody's getting the same information at the same time. We have to take this as a sign. Yes, we're sad on what's happening on the negative side, but more opportunities than ever before because people are looking for solutions. And we are the most creative on the planet. So we can take that creativity and network and strategize and continue to do things that you're doing today with your staff. I believe we can make a significant difference. One, access to capital, money is available. Two, access to contracts, looking at what we can pivot, what we can sell, not only domestically. Remember, you are a global citizen. You can sell product all around the world. I used to say FUBU, now I say FABU, for all by us. What can you sell to everybody to make the agenda forward? And then thirdly, contacts. What can I pivot? What are the opportunities now that I can partner with and be able to move the agenda forward? I just truly believe this is a sign of God that we can work together and create a platform. I'm looking very forward to coming up to South Bend and doing a live workshop with your community to assist them in getting contracts. The first sentence in my book, Wall Street to the Hood, I say that if you don't understand capitalism, you are a foreigner in your own country. Business is a language. Learn the language. You can't do computers if you can't code. You couldn't back in the old days speak Latin. You weren't a part of the economy. You have to speak their language. It's not emotional. I have a hashtag, be emotional after 10 o'clock. Let's do business during the day. And the more we understand business, we can then help more and we can create Black and minority wealth for our communities all across the country.
Yeah, wow. Thank you so much for all that you have shared with us over the past 55 minutes. It has certainly been impactful and information that our small businesses and MWBEs can certainly take right now in this moment and begin to use based upon the challenges that they are experiencing. Closing remarks from you, Dr. Lance.
I mentioned it earlier. I'm a biblical scholar, and I mean, I come from a history of priests on both sides. I truly believe this is a part of the great wealth transfer. The first should be last, and the last should be first. And in that respect, I believe that the world is healing. We have people with more open hearts. I believe that with a plan for minority businesses, that we can take the COVID-19 crisis and turn into an agenda that will be in history books, that we helped change the economy, we helped change lives, we became more closer, and we're able to assist people, particularly those that need help and disadvantage. And I want to thank you for allowing me to come share my information today. I applaud you and your staff. I've been able to work with you all. You have an outstanding staff that does this work, and I'm here to serve and looking forward to coming to Indiana to help continue this agenda.
Yeah, well, we look forward to bringing you back. You were here a couple years ago as the speaker for the Hazel B. Hunter Luncheon through the NAACP. As well, you were here for a gathering with the Urban League of South Bend that is no longer here in our community, but you've been here a number of times now as well. We brought you in to talk to the faith community as you have shared, a background that you have. And so we look forward to you coming back to our community and sharing some information with us and doing some training and development here to be beneficial to our community.
I'm looking forward to it, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much again. I want to thank my staff, Antonius Northern, who is our inclusive project manager, as well as our contract compliance administrator, Larry King, for all of their support in handling all of the behind the scenes tasks that were handled today and getting us to a place where we have had a successful webinar. I hope that each and every individual that has joined us on this webinar and as well out on Facebook have felt inspired, but as well impacted by the information that was shared by Dr. E. Lance McCarthy. Certainly, I encourage you to go out and Google him and/or to look him up and further research Dr. McCarthy and the work that he's doing. He is doing some tremendous things within his own local area, but as well globally. And so we want to stay connected to him, and as well, we want to be able to utilize the information that he shared with us here in our own community as well. Let me thank each of you that joined us on today. And we appreciate that you have taken time out to be with us on today. I want to encourage you to join us on next week, Tuesday, May the 12th. We'll be talking about tackling fear and anxiety amid Corona. Our guest on next Tuesday at 11 a.m. will be Rhonda Gibson. Rhonda has an MSW and as well an LCSW. And she'll be coming to talk to us in regards to tackling fear and anxiety amid the coronavirus. Certainly, many of our business owners and entrepreneurs, MWBEs, certainly have experienced some anxiety, and we want them to have some solutions to be able to address those things that they may be experiencing as well. So thank you all so much for being a part of the webinar. We look forward to seeing you again on next week. We have created a series of webinars that will be sharing with our community and even globally every Tuesday and Thursday at 11 a.m. And so we will share with you that information in regards to the other topics down the road. So have a great rest of the day. Keep shooting for the moon, because if you fall, you'll be amongst the stars. Thank you again for your participation on today.
Thank you. Thank you for the
Thank you,
invitation.
Dr. Lance.
Thank you, Dr. Lance.
Dr. Lance.
Great work in the community.
Thank you, thank you.
I appreciate your philanthropy. Yeah. Giving to others, man. Great job. Great PowerPoint presentation.
Thank you, thank you. We should try to squeeze a lot in there. But
What was the name of your book? We have one of our questions for our chatting room. Can you state the title of your book again?
Wall Street to the Hood. It's available on
Wall
Amazon.
Street. Okay.
Wall Street to the Hood.
Wall Street to the Hood. Okay. I don't know if she's still there, but thank you for sharing.
No problem at all. No problem at all. This is
And-
great, man. It flowed well, Mike. You should have a TV show.
Yeah, man. You said it's Oprah's job, huh?
We're hopeful, man. We're hopeful. You know, Tina and I have been working on that. So